I hope I am audible now, and hope you can see the screen now.
Yes, sir. So now it's audible as well as visible.
So just let us have a look at this. Okay. World Wide Web. It's information of systems, websites. All the websites are connected together. It's called as a World Wide Web. And you know why we are using this? We use for exchange of textual information, visual information, audios, videos, etc. So as we all know, it can be used for connections can be done through cell phones, laptops, computers, and then World Wide Web, along with the internet, enables retrieval and display of text and media to the device. So web page we already know now. Initially, theoretically, we had what is we theoretically we saw, and then we developed lots of web pages through HTML. So web page is a document. Now I think you'll be able to relate it in a better way now. Web page is a document or a web resource which is available on the World Wide Web, and we access it using a browser. Now you could see whatever HTML pages we developed, we opened it in the browser. Then you can have a monitor or a mobile device, and then typical web pages are hypertext. Now we know using anchor tag, we give the hyperlinks. So we use the hyperlinks for this. What all contains again the same thing. You have got text, images, sounds, videos, animations. They are the contents of the web pages, and then you have got data application e-services, images, audio, video files, personal web pages, etc. They are also contents. Or I am also a web client. You are also a web client. Typically, we use various kinds of web servers, web pages, email servers, mail servers for our work, our tasks. So that particular person, any person who uses this will obviously be called as a web client. So when there is a client, there should be a server. You have got a web server, which is there on the server side. It is both a hardware and a software. So there is one dedicated server with a huge capacity which stores the server software. So both are called as the server. Now, when user requests, then the server software finds out what is the request by the user and then gives or replies with the requirement of the user. And then they communicate. Now I am communicating to you in English. Similarly, all the most of the systems on the internet connect with each other. It's their language through their protocol, which is the hypertext transfer protocol. Now, the primary function of the web server is to process, store, and deliver the web pages. Whatever user requests, that is given to the user from the server. That is the main task of the web server. Now, pages delivered are most of the times we use the HTML document, sometimes images and style sheets also we have seen, and then scripts in addition to the text content. These are the uh, data shared by the web server with the client. The web application is a client server computing program that the client uses in its interface. Now, there are two kinds of clients. Now, for example, if you can see here, now minimize this. See here. Let us take examples of Zoom only, right? Now, suppose I'll just say Zoom. I'm opening the web application in the browser. I use the Firefox browser and then I will open Zoom here. Now, the Zoom is opened and then I can log in from this one. So this is what this is a web. Uh, I become a web client and then I'm accessing uh, the server through the browser. The server through the browser. Alternatively, there will be a Zoom app. On my desktop, you can see a Zoom app. Zoom application. Now, click on this one. I have already logged in with this one, through which I have been communicating to you. Now, this using this also we can log in. So, such a login is called as web application. So, that is what is the difference between uh, a web program and web application. Now, if I access Zoom to the app which is installed on my system, that becomes the web application. Or directly, if I go to the browser and if I access the Zoom, then that becomes what? The web program. So application can be installed on your system or it can be on the browser. You can access it through browser also. So you have webmail like Gmail, online retail stores like Amazon and Flipkart, online banking, all the banking websites, and then eBay is one of the examples of the online options. So here is a typical simple example of a client server. Now you being a client can access multiple servers and then server can cater to the multiple clients. That is how the client server application takes place. So this picture should always be in your mind whenever you think of the World Wide Web. Now this can be asked in the examination also. Here you have got a web server. Both software as well as hardware are called as the hardware server and the web server. It is connected to the internet, and then clients can access this particular server through various things. There is one more entity here in picture, which is not in the picture, in fact. Um, that is the DNS, domain name server. What domain name server does is, suppose you are logging in from your laptop or your mobile. Now you type this So first it will go to the domain name server. Domain name server will give the IP address of gccpgm.org, and then the browser contacts the server through the IP address, not through the domain name which you have given. There is a domain name server which will take care of that particular. So website is again a collection of, as of now we have been developing only one particular web page as of now. So a collection of web pages together becomes a website. It's a collection of resources such as web pages, multimedia, content, and then which are commonly identified with a common name. So gccpgm.org has got multiple pages with one domain name, that is gccpgm.org. And then they are published on at least one web server. So what is the meaning of this? At least one web server. Now, bigger domains like Wikipedia, Google.com, and Amazon.com, they do not have a single domain, and they do not have only one web server. They have got thousands of web servers because the demand is so huge. On one server, the demand cannot be met. So they have multiple web servers. So at least one web server should be there. Multiple web servers can exist. Now, for example, Google has got thousands of web servers, and then for each continent, each country, they have got a typical web server, and each country's request is directed to that particular web server only. To manage that web server, they have got multiple servers as well. That is the meaning of how, at least on one web server, the things should exist. The website can be accessed through internet protocol such as internet or local area network or the uniform resource locator. Now, for example, here, let me again go back to our browser. And then from college, I cannot access anything outside the world without the firewall. There is a firewall, or there is one particular thing. Now, this address is the local area network. So first I need to access my local area network first, and then I can access the internet. That's what this particular thing says. That websites can be accessed via public internet, that is uh, through our mobiles or a local area network like our college or uniform resource locator of that particular site. A home page we have seen. The first page, the main page, which is visible to the user when we access that particular website, is called as the home page. And then it may also be in most of the cases, this is also the landing page. To show an example for this, I searched now here. See, zoom.us is the home page. So I can click on this one. We'll go to the this particular home page. Now directly we can skip the home page and we can go to the page which we want. So in this case, now see meetings page. From this one we can go to the home page also. So this is our home page and then this is our meeting page. So whichever page we access, that becomes the landing. For this link, download page is the landing page. For this sign in page is the landing page. Meetings is the landing page. Support is the landing page for this particular link. So we'll click on this one, we'll get a directly the support page. But in case if you don't go directly, then you can go with this one. You can go with the landing page. So that is the meaning of the landing page. Home page is generally the main page. So visitors will be taken to this particular page. Alternatively, we can directly go to the other pages also. Whichever page opens first, that page becomes the landing page. Whichever page is specified in the target, that becomes the landing page. Last point, majority of web pages have a home page with underlining content pages, although some websites contain only single page. Very minimal users, very basic users, what they do is they have got a particular this one. What if the web page is very big, then what you're going to do is multiple pages are there. Website is very big, multiple pages are there. If there is only a small this one small person, suppose if I develop my website, it may not contain multiple pages. I may only have one particular page which is related to my personal information. So that will be the thing. Now basis, on that basis, we have got what I want to tell is you can have uh, your own personal page as far as possible. In future, it may be available, it may not be available. So what you can do is you can purchase your domain and then keep it with you. Now, for example, you can have say Rishikesh dot Tendulkar. You can have Rutik dot Kolhapuri. That can be a web page. No need to have a .com, .in or something like that. Nowadays, the rules have changed. So you can if you have a unique name and if you want to use it for the future purpose, you can just go to the any of the web service providers and then you can just check with them. And then if that particular, they'll show you whether the web page is available or not. If the web page is available, definitely you can go for that particular thing. So whatever we are learning right now, that is a process of web development. So how do we develop a web page? Right from the starting pages, like we are developing with the plain content, or to the huge applications, web apps like Zoom, electronic businesses, social media networks, that also can be a website development. These terms, web engineering, web design, content development, licensing, website server-side scripting, web server, network security, and e-commerce development, all are related to website development. Now you can get involved yourself in web engineering from A to Z, only web page design, then content development. Content development in the sense, whatever the text is there, whatever the image is there, the text and image you're procuring and compiling it or creating on your own, that becomes the content development. Client licensing, you can become a client licensing officer, wherein what happens is you will interact with the client, what kind of a requirement they have. A client server support system can be one of the things. So you can go into the scripting side, learn JavaScript or PHP and go to the client side and server side scripting, or simply manage the web server. And in fact, we can go into network security also and e-commerce development also. All the topics which are related to this particular thing, the basics of all these things, you have got this. So basically, now we are developing our own website for our society. So this is what we did. We also did the same thing. First, get the hosting name and register name. That's what, in case if you want to own a website on your own in future. So what you can do is first register and obtain it. Now, suppose for example, if I want to have, say, Rupa wants to have her own website, then just she can say Rupa, and then .com, .in, something which you want. You can have. And suppose if somebody um, takes it in future, then she will not be able to have. So she can go and register, and then that will be hers. That will be hers, but um, it has to be renewed on yearly basis. So that is one thing. First thing is register a name. Have a name. Then set up your website. Start developing your website through HTML and through templates. Specify the designs for that one, which template you want to have, where should be the menu, and all those templates come over there. Then add the contents to the website. Customize it as per your requirement by adding the contents. Check the errors and then deploy it. Now specify your domain name and server address in the DNS server, and then you can deploy. So the process of web content authoring is the process of writing the information in the web page. It's the process how do you write the information in the web page. Now some of the web pages have got very useful this one very useful contents, and they have got very useful. You can get the information very easily. Now, for example, yesterday I was just going through one of the websites. Have you heard about National Education Policy? New Education Policy, National Education Policy. Has anybody heard about it?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, suppose if you have a sister or a brother or younger, not this one, not younger in the sense, not the existing this one, but in future, now from this year onwards, what's going to happen is the government is implementing complete new way of education. Plus 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. There is something like this. So first, we'll be having henceforth the concepts of pre-university college are not going to exist, and there is no question of examinations. For the students. Now, for example, I want to develop a website on informative website on national education policy. The first thing what I'm supposed to do is find out. So the education will start at the age of 3. From 3 to 5, 3 to 8. For 5 years, there'll be one phase. Then from 8 to 11, 3 years, another phase. 11 to 14, 3 years, again another phase. 14 to 18, 4 years, another phase. So what is going to happen is up to say fifth standard, there is one particular thing. Then you have got up to second one particular thing, second to fifth one particular stage, fifth to eighth again one particular stage, eighth to no 10th standard. Now directly 8th to 12th standard, it will be considered as the second. Now earlier how we used to have uh, 8th, 9th and 10th would be secondary schooling. Now it will be 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th will be the all things will be combined. And the degree is going to be of 4 years. So probably it may be implemented from this year only. So everybody has to do a degree of 4 years instead of 3 years. Of course, multiple things are there. So if you want to develop that particular website, you need to know the content. What should be all the information should be available at your disposal. Defining the content, know that particular record, and then populate the record with images, graphs, diagrams, charts, and all those things. You can populate with that particular. Then graphics design is the use of graphics, typography, graphs, and all those things. So useful graphs can be added to your web pages. I think I did show you some very interactive graphs. Now there are Python. When we are discussing about graphs, Python is one particular programming language which will give you plenty of graphs. You can generate hundreds, thousands of graphs in at least 50, 60 different ways. Now, generally, typically, what we do is um, we generally see only the pie chart or a bar chart, a couple of charts, couple of types of charts we see. But using Python, you can even Excel also. You can develop thousands of different types of charts. And then there is a heat map. There is a protector map. There are different kinds of maps, different kinds of charts that can be generated, and that can be uh, incorporated or implemented in your web page. Web graphic designer. So that is the task of a web graphic designer. Now he has to develop those kinds of designs, and then uh, I think COVID related designs, COVID related charts we saw. This is how we the task of that particular person is the design. So that will be a graphics designer's task. So as we know, HTML is only for the display purposes or having interaction with user. We need to have a scripting language to find out whether the login application is right or not. And now, for example, here take this one. Now, Zoom as a example. Now, for this Zoom, if I want to log in, then what happens is only this is designed using HTML, but at the same time, if I want to log in, let me show it in a browser that will be more relevant. Now, if I have to log in here in this particular, what's going to happen is that there'll be some particular programming language, which is also called as the scripting language. It will check whether the users have logged in or not. The username is proper or not. The information will not go to the server. Here only it will be checked whether the user has logged in or not. So such kind of a things are called as the, let's see, I can log in from this one. It will check. So there are two ways of checking. Either it can check on the local system or the information is sent to the server. But in both the cases, you need a scripting language to check whether that is authentic or not. Such kind of programming languages which are embedded along with the HTML, they are called as the scripting languages. But as the second point says, although scripts are widely used everywhere, but generally what happens is we have been off late using it on a frequent basis. And with the advent of the internet, more and more people are using internet, so we start using. As you can see, India is the second largest user of the internet as of now. So obviously, we use more kind of scripting languages. Scripting language, we are learning two types of scripting languages here. Once we finish with the second unit, we'll go to the JavaScript. So the JavaScript is one particular thing. And also the second scripting language that we are going to study is the PHP. So scripting languages, they are run in the environment which is runtime, and then they are interpreted that can be combined with the other programming languages and which can be classified into domain-specific general purpose programming. Uh, some of the examples, Bash, the scripting process started with Unix, Bash, then ECMS script, which is now called as the JavaScript, Visual Basic, Microsoft Office, etc. Some of the examples of the scripting languages. Now, Ruby, Python, and Perl can also sometimes be called as used as a scripting. Why do we use why we cannot use C, C++ or Java for getting embedded into HTML? Because HTML requires a scripting language which is very easy, fast editing, interactivity, and functionality. Once we go into JavaScript, we'll understand how easy it is to use it. So easy to learn, easy to use, very easily you can edit it. Functionality is minimal. You need not write lines and lines and lines of code for this one. Very small piece of code is sufficient to carry out a big task. That is also one of the reasons why we use Where do you use it? As I said, it can be used on the client side also. It can be used on the server side also. JavaScript, PHP, Perl are used for the server side, and JavaScript, Ajax, jQuery can be used on the client. So we use will be using JavaScript and then checking out both on the server side as well as on the client side. Shell, Perl, Python, some of the things. PHP also can be used. Then again, they're used in games and then in multimedia for plugins and extension of existing applications. So this is a expected question. Difference between a programming language and a scripting. So just a set of instructions, not as detailed as the programming languages. Programming language is usually compiled, scripting language interpreted, developed from the scratch. You need not have any header file, stdio.h, main function, nothing like that. You need to have a main function in C and Java, but here you need not run independent. That's a separate entity, but here it will run as a part of another program. Designed for the full usage, designed for fast coding. Quickly you can code this. One-shot conversion. One-shot conversion in the sense the program from the source code to machine level code is converted at once. Here it is converted line by line. That is the reason why it is interpreted. Then you have got creates a .exe file. Here in this case, does not create a execution file is created and not compilation is required, not required here. Full code is written, partial code is sufficient for this. Harder to code, or you can say takes more time. Here, easy to code. More examples of this: C, C++, Java, VB, COBOL, Pascal, etc. Here, JavaScript, VB Shell, Perl, Python, Ruby, Python we already have seen. JavaScript and PHP we are going to learn in this particular classification. Also, we have seen lightweight, lightweight data structures, and then lightweight familiar to this one, no semicolon version, lightweight with dynamic, that typing, lightweight meta programming, lightweight implementation. Now, most of the times we use lightweight implementation and integration. We are not concerned with the first four, not relevant to us. The diagram which I am showing is called as the word cloud. So you just have a inkling or knowledge about this one, word cloud. So if somebody asks you what is a word cloud, then this is the word cloud. So the basic reason behind this showing this particular workload is I have a particular data. It can be Excel data. It can be in any other format, CSV or Word file also. This which does not have which contains which does not have any other details but only the numbers. So how many say Apache 20, MongoDB 40, Schema 25, Erlang 30, MySQL 20, XQuery 20, Python 25, Node.js 40, something like this. So that means uh, those many times the languages are being used. So that can be converted into the word cloud. And then how to interpret this? Bigger the font size of that particular text, more number of times that is used over used in the current scenario. Now you can see here PHP is more widely used. Node.js is again more widely used. So is Python. So is JavaScript. .NET is used somewhere. So when you use the application, you'll get to know how that particular thing is used. So scripting languages. Now, for example, if I can show you here, show you this. The other day we were using a university application. See, the affiliation process, the college affiliation process with government and university is online now. Everything has to be entered online. So this is one of the web pages, online affiliation.gov.in. So here in this case, you can see login.aspx. So the moment you see the extension .aspx, automatically you'll understand that it is on the C# .NET platform. So like this, you have got many applications over. So this is the example. This is everything about the first unit. If you understood this, any doubts here?
No, sir. Understood.
No, sir. No doubts.
Any doubts? You can ask. Otherwise, we'll proceed to the next one. Uh, Wait for some time. If anybody has a doubt, you can ask. Till then, you can. Okay. Then uh, now one question which everybody will ask is regarding the difference between HTML and XHTML. We will just check out with that one. Now, before that, let me uh, give a brief introduction about this one. HTML stands for the hypertext markup language. You have got different web pages which are developed using this particular markup language. As the markup language says, we have got paragraphs, we have got lists, we have got different kinds of tags. The basic unit of a markup language is the tag. So these are the four basic tags or elements as we call them, which we use it. HTML head, title, and then body. The uh, viva of practical examinations also these things will be asked, which are the basic things. Now, title tag exists inside the head tag in HTML and then body. Body tag is inside the HTML tag, so is head and title in turn also is inside the head tag. So the closing and opening tags we should always be HTML tags. First element is HTML element. As we know, everything is contained within the HTML tag. We have got the head tag and the body tag. Then we use the metadata, as we have seen. Here in this case, meta tag is used. Where do you use the meta tag? It is used inside the head tag. The contents of the meta tag are not shown anywhere in the output, which is displayed on the browser. The meta tag is only for the search engines. You can give all the information related to your web page which you're developing. That information is stored in the meta tag. What the browser does is, what the search engine does is, it accesses the meta tag and finds out what all information is present in the meta tag, and accordingly, it displays the results when somebody searches for those keywords or that particular information. Some of the attributes of the meta tag: name, content, scheme, and HTTP. So name, as usual, we can give the name. We can specify what contents, what are the contents of this particular HTML page. Then what is the scheme? There are different kinds of schemes available for the web pages. Which scheme it belongs to? So every web page has got its own HTTP equivalent value. So that also can be specified in this. Remember, meta tag is not compulsory, and if you use meta tag, then it is not compulsory that you should use all the attributes, but it would always be advisable to use these kinds of all these attributes to make it to make your web page very recognizable by Google or any of the other search engines. So this is how we use it inside the head tag, meta, and then first attribute we have used whatever keyword you want to have, content, whatever keyword you want to have. For example, another example is there over here. Um, Second one, we have used HTTP equivalent. Some of the examples: refresh, content, and some information you can specify there. So where we use this say meta tag, if you have a very big website, you are in a very big organization and you want people to find out your website based on the meta tag, then all use all these. As in other cases, the web pages also have a expiry date. Now, for example, our college's website, ALS website, is due for renewal, which expires on 15th of July. So, if we find out this, we'll get that particular information. So, we need to get it renewed before the 15th of July. So that is one of the attributes, as we have seen. So here, meta is the tag, and then attribute. Name is an attribute, content is an attribute. So you've got the tags can be both opening and closing tag. Sometimes closing tag is inside the opening tag only. So that also we can specify. Uh, so name is one of the properties. Then value is the uh, the value held by that particular property attribute, and then the value held by that particular property. With plenty of examples we have seen for the name and again remember this, which are the core attributes: ID, title, class, and style. ID, title, class, and style. Again, I'll repeat: ID, title, class, and style are the core attributes. Apart from this, other specific attributes are there. Now, see the example here first. PID is equal to HTML. PID is equal to CSS. So any identifier name can be given here. Keywords also here in this, as in you have in Java and other these things, programming languages, keywords, but it's better to avoid that. This attribute that can be used to uniquely identify each element in the page. So primary reasons for you want IDs to differentiate between two paragraphs. You can use it. Easily identifiable. And also you can use it. The title, you can give any title to H4. Title is equal to hello HTML. So if you take the cursor over there, it will show the title of that particular page. Again, we use class. Class, most primary use of the class is inside the uh, selector forms. Cascading style sheets examples we have seen. Class selector. There we use this one. So uniquely identify a particular paragraph or a particular this one. What header or any particular type. We use the either the class attribute or the ID. Style attribute, we all know we want to give a particular style, especially the inline level of CSS. Then we use the style. I think only 1 minute is remaining. I'll try to cover up as much as possible. Before enter, in case if you want to have a class for revision of the remaining topics of this particular unit, then what you can do is you can discuss amongst yourself tomorrow or the day after. Any day would be fine for me. Just discuss, select the thing, let me know the timing, and accordingly, I'll cover the remaining part of that particular syllabus. Yeah, style, uh, property, value, property colon value, semicolon, property colon value, etc. etc. dir attribute is used which direction the text